Yeah, just fucking kidding. Just please don't ban me. QAnon's a huge racist and a liar. No, but seriously, I overall like the QAnon movement. I think that it opens up the public's eyes to conspiracy and things that are going on that they're sort of hidden in plain sight and the public doesn't know about. Most of the public in America has no idea about the deeper history of the founding fathers and the Constitution. They don't know about law. They don't really know about some of the corruption that's gone on. They haven't looked into things that have been smeared as conspiracy theory. They don't know about communism. They don't know about Satanism. They don't know about some of the ridiculous corruption that's existed even in the US government. And QAnon is really focused in on exposing that. And overall, it's pretty hilarious that people will. I mean, you think about how people have basically called QAnon. It's sort of like Trump. People say Trump is this huge racist and this horrible human being, or he's colluding with Russia. Like, people nowadays still say Trump is in Putin's pocket. They just did an official basically for the entire length of his presidency, the Democrats were investigating him and trying to come up with any piece of dirt that they could possibly find on him. They never found anything. You think that if they investigated Trump for as long as they did and they found some dirt, they wouldn't release it? I mean, if they're holding back dirt on Trump and they release it, and this is the difference between like a Republican and a Democrat, I would be like, dude, I would renounce my respect for Trump in a second, but, and that's the difference between Democrats and Republicans, or whatever you want to call me. Somebody that just wants to run a fucking business and not be censored, and, all the regulations and whatnot. I would renounce Trump, but, Democrats won't do that. Even, it's just like, Biden, literally, everything that's come out with him, they're still like, Joe Biden's a good man. No, he's not. Do. Crazy. It's kind of the same thing with Q. They say, "Oh, QAnon's this terrible thing. It's a cult." Well, I mean, really, what Q is, all that QAnon is actually hidden posts on like 8chan and 4chan and like some other like anonymous post message boards or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And he basically just leaves clues or whatever, like fucking, it's basically just some dude that posts riddles on some message board, and people were like, that's interesting, and then they start reading up on it and they're like, whoa, what the fuck is this? It's not a cult is far different than that. A cult is something where you have to actually, somebody tells you what to think, they indoctrinate you, and they make you think one way. If you think outside that box, they tell you that, there's going to be some fucking consequences or some shit. I don't even know. Never been in a cult myself. But the QAnon thing is like, here's some info. That's it. Literally, like, that's it. They're like, yeah, Hillary Clinton is probably part of a satanic death cult and is probably involved with satanic ritual abuse. There are many people in government that are involved with satanic ritual abuse and all of this shit. And yeah, that's it. That's all that was said. And then from there, it's like left to you to like do your own research. That's literally all QAnon is. It's just some dude that makes posts. So it's just an unfair smear of the thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all. Nor do I think that it's the end-all be-all. Like, I personally am an independent thinker. I do my own research. I've looked at the Q maps, which I think are very, very good. And I've had my eyes open to a lot of things. I've learned a lot about world history. I've learned a lot about the origins of the U.S. government. I've learned, for instance, one thing that blew my mind the other day is that most of our founding fathers and many of our U.S. presidents were part of the Freemasons. Seriously, George Washington was a fucking Freemason, which was evolved from the Jesuits, which was evolved from the Knights Templar, which was, I mean, they have this, you can look back throughout history and see where these organizations come from. And that is disturbing because those organizations practice occult. I mean, they're occult organizations and they originate from people that are descendants of Cain that worship Lucifer. Like seriously, there's really a split, and the occultist secret societies are a real thing. I mean, it's just something that most people don't know about because it's sworn to secrecy. So I've learned a lot about that stuff through through QAnon. I mean, for me, it was like, okay, this is how I got into learning about all this shit, the conspiracy and the cabal or whatever. It's like we had COVID-19 this year, and you might have seen my videos on COVID-19. That info that I gathered and that I put out very early is still true. You know, you can beat COVID-19, which isn't even like a real thing. It's just highly transmissible, weak chimera virus. But they're coming out with another one probably very soon that's going to be, my guess would be either bacterial pneumonia, just like the 1918 Spanish flu that killed a lot of people, or smallpox. I'm sure they have a few different options. They might just dump it all because they're desperate, and that's scary. But we can figure it out. You know, you don't have to panic. The info that I put out back then was right on point. But anyway, so the COVID-19 thing happened, and I heard this huge pandemic was coming into New York, and I was stuck here, and I was freaked out. I was like, holy shit, you know, people are dying left and right. There's like an 8% mortality rate in fucking Italy. All these people are dying, supposedly, all this fucking bullshit. And I was freaked out. But then after maybe about 3 to 4 months of lockdown and seeing the city just empty like a ghost town, I mean, the streets that I had known for 15 years, pretty much, maybe not, it was maybe 12 years or something. I've lived in New York, just empty. After that, in the middle of the summer, all of a sudden, riots, Black Lives Matter, Antifa. Oh, all of a sudden now it's totally cool to have this bullshit movement of Black Lives Matter, as if anybody that you know is like, Black lives don't matter. Nobody's saying that, okay? They had thousands of these people rioting and looting and doing this crazy shit after we were told to lock down. And the mayor is like cool with it. That was when I was like, what is this shit? What is going on here? And a friend sent me this QAnon stuff, and I like looked at it and I'm like, damn. I kind of had my mind blown at that point where I was like, holy shit. Like, this is really what's going on here. Like, I was just like, dude, holy shit. I just went just completely into it and read all this stuff and watched all these documentaries. I watched The Fall of the Cabal, which is an excellent documentary, which it's not even related really to QAnon. It's just a fucking documentary on the history of the world. It's excellent. Backed up all with facts, backed up with documentation, really excellent stuff. And yeah, I just started reading a bunch of this stuff, and I realized it's really going on. There is conspiracy, there is corruption. We all know that there's corruption and conspiracy in the government. Come on, we've been making jokes about it for years. What are you telling me? You don't think that there's corruption in government? I mean, it's ridiculous. That's what it's exposing. It's talking about that. But I think that people have no idea how deep it goes. Like, they know that there's corruption, but they don't know how deep it goes. And like I've alluded to in my previous videos, it goes all the way to hell. I mean, these people are, right now, I mean, we're Halloween night, October 31st, 2020. It's been the gayest fucking year of my life. It's just endless. Maybe not the gayest year of my life, but it's been pretty fucking annoying to live in New York City during this time. So, anyway, you know, I was looking at this stuff, and more or less, it's mostly true. I think there's parts of it that are not true. Like, I don't know what they're talking about when they when they say oh, we have Hillary Clinton, we have all these people, we rounded them up and we executed them in Guantanamo Bay. What you're seeing is a hologram. That's stuff that I don't know. Like, that seems far fetched. That doesn't seem like that's based in reality. But I do believe that, and I think that everyone with a decent, head on their shoulders believes that and sees that, Hillary Clinton, the Democrats, the Rhino Republicans, in other words, Republican in name only, the Rhino Republicans, they're evil. I mean, they're literally in bed with the Chinese Communist Party. They're in bed with Russia, who also is, we've had the Cold War. We've had, there's tension between us. We're not like buddies. Obama. I mean, for years you think about these people that spoke so poorly of Russia. Why would they be allied with the United States after comments made by Biden and Clinton and Obama and Bush? All these people were like, we're not going to normalize relations with Russia. And Trump's like, why wouldn't we? And you look at what Trump's done in terms of peace deals with, apparently, as of today, October 31st, 2020, Iran, are one of our greatest, truly our greatest threats to humanity right now. They're talking about normalizing a peace deal with Israel. I mean, it's amazing what Trump has done. He's made peace deals with, I think at this point, what is it, 6 or 12 fucking Middle Eastern countries? The guy brought peace to the Middle East. It's amazing what he's done. How can you possibly... this is the thing. It's like, how can you even have an issue with the man? He's literally made peace deals with some of the most vicious and aggressive countries in the world, and he's brought peace to them with Israel. It's amazing. It's honestly, it's amazing what he's done. But anyway, I overall, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I just think that QAnon is a hub for your own. You just do your own research. You read the drops. You look at the maps that have been produced. You look at the information that's been conglomerated. You think of it like that. It's just a conglomeration of ideas, and do your own research. And it gets way out there. I admit, it gets really far out there to stuff that is like, I mean, I'm just like, what? Even just on the world history front, I'm like looking at stuff, about the Vatican. It's just so much of world history is honestly unbelievable, but most people don't even bother reading about it, so they have no idea. The Phoenicians, for instance, were absolutely brutal people that practiced humans. I think this is one of the origins of this whole satanic death cult thing. They practiced child sacrifice. They sacrificed their children to Moloch. They sacrificed people to Baal, Moloch, Lucifer, whatever you want to call it, some fucking gay ass god, and they killed kids all the time. And then they got broken up by normal people that were like, what is this? Yeah, you can't do that. Like, that's not all right, you fucks. Stop it. And then they broke off, and then they just, at certain points in the world, they would migrate to different areas, and then they would be given the option of saying, people would tell them, you have to either convert to Christianity, Judaism, or Islam. And, you have to. And that's it. And then at one point, they actually converted to Judaism. And they fragmented Judaism to where now they actually kept doing what they were doing, where they kept worshiping Lucifer. And then they became the Jesuits. And then they took over the Vatican. And then they became I think it was either the Knights Templar was the military arm of the Jesuits. I can't remember exactly, but you can look this stuff up for yourself. And then from there, they became the Freemasons. And the Freemasons are a secret society that exists to this day. They're an occultist secret society. And a secret society is all about, what happens in this circle, where we draw the pentacle or whatever the fuck we do, stays in this circle by blood oath. And they practice things like blackmail. They practice things like they corrupt people. They do all these things. Scientology. is one of those secret societies where you're bound, and if you leave, they track you down, they try to fuck your life up. It's crazy, dude. You can watch like Joe Rogan podcasts with ex Scientologists where they would like track them down and they'd have guns and they would like try to assassinate them. Fucking crazy. Secret societies, like JFK said, they need to be splintered into the wind, or I think he said that about the CIA. There's a lot of corruption that goes on, and QAnon simply it's literally just posts. You just go read the fucking posts and you make your own decisions. The problem is that you have this other you have the actual cabal, you have the actual corruption that they don't want to be discovered. So what do? They smear it. It's an old communist technique, Leninist technique, where they just take, or even a satanic technique, where they literally take, what they're doing and they accuse their enemy of it. So, in the case of like accusing Trump of being in bed with Russia, personally, I don't know if he's been in bed with Russia, but he's been investigated for 3 fucking years. But I haven't seen any evidence of it. If Trump's selling our country out to Russia, I'm not going to be a supporter of Trump. Okay? But it turns out that Hillary, Biden, Pelosi, Barack Obama, all these people are doing these deals, these retarded, insanely corrupt deals overseas with these people that are easily discovered, and they have to use blackmail and intimidation to keep it suppressed. Trump didn't do that. I mean, the easiest thing to say is like, look, I was thinking about this today. One thing that you could say to the Biden supporters before they start autistically screeching and pretending like they're tough, most pathetic thing you've ever seen. The only reason they get away with it is because they can for now, but they're going to regret that for sure. How is it that Biden, Hillary, Obama, Clinton, all these people, AOC, why are they rich? Why are your Congress people millionaires? That doesn't make any sense. What do you think? It's fucking smart investments? You think they're making just winning investments year after year? They're just smart money all the time. They're running great business. No, they're career politicians and they're lawyers. Liars, lawyers, they'll defend anybody. Hillary Clinton defended, she was a criminal defense attorney for a guy that literally raped a little girl and got him off and then laughed at the girl. That's a sick bitch right there. She's gonna run her for president. It's the craziest thing. I mean, this is why I have a lot more faith in QAnon than I do the mainstream media or some average schmuck liberal, okay? Your average schmuck liberal or your average schmuck person, to be honest with you, they don't read, they don't do any research, and then you'll tell them, like, hey, look up some of this stuff. Like, even just one thing about it. I'll send in my Pizzagate article. I put together this really, really good article on Pizzagate, which is, it is arguably one of the most compelling and damning pieces of conspiracy that exists. It's unbelievable that more people don't look up Pizzagate and study it for themselves. They just believe what the media tells them, and they believe your average, schmuck, idiot person that doesn't research this shit at all. Or your average person will look at it and they'll just be like, even I did this, I admit this. Even I did this years ago. I looked at the Pizzagate thing and I was like, whoa, that's fucking weird. That's really weird. And then, the smears came on and, Alex Jones, who kind of exposed it from InfoWars, kind of backed off of it for some reason. And I was like, well, maybe it's not really real, or it's not really as bad as we thought it was. No, it's real. Come on. it's like, when your girlfriend is like, I'm going to be home late, or I'm going to dinner with my friend. What friend? Oh, you don't need to know. And she's, going out with her tits all pushed up and everything. And then she comes back home at like 4 a.m. She's drunk. And she just goes straight to sleep. And then she doesn't talk to you for 2 days. You're like, is she cheating on me? And then she's like, I didn't cheat on you. And you're like, okay, she didn't cheat on me, even though she totally is, or like, either way, the guy does it too. People are like that, the evidence is right there in their face, but it's so, because what it would mean for you to believe, what it would mean for you to actually begin to accept the fact that these things are true. And there's, I've always said this, and I will stand by this. I believe this is true. Okay, I'm not right all the time. I'm just a man, flawed man. But I will say this: that I believe that when video evidence comes out of these people doing satanic rituals, raping, murdering, killing kids, feces, piss, urine, families, hermaphrodites, devil costumes, devil worship, pentacles, creepy, weird shit, strange creatures left in, just like all the stuff that Anton LaVey talks about. You see Obama doing it. You see Hunter and Joe Biden and Jill Biden doing it. You see the incest. You see them fucking their children. Like, you see Joe Biden fucking Hunter Biden. You see Hunter Biden fucking Joe Biden. You see Joe Biden, you see Joe Biden fucking Hunter Biden. You see, them fucking the kids, and they're cutting heads off of chickens and they're eating babies. You think that I'm kidding? Like, when you hear this, you're probably like, wow, that's crazy. That's how they get away with it. That's what Satanism is. It's literally, that's what they do. They have blood ritual sacrifices. They have sex magic rituals that they do going off different dates of the calendar. Just read about it. Just read about it. There's a book that you can read by an FBI high-level guy called Ted Gunderson called The Finders. And he was a high-level FBI agent who was investigating satanic ritual abuse. Go look it up. The guy was in the FBI. You can just Google it. You can actually go and Google it, and you'll see that, what I'm saying is not shit that I'm just making up. It's what they do, and it's what's been validated extensively. Rudy Giuliani talks about this stuff. The guy was a mayor of New York. He's been part of the bar organization for 50 years. He's been a well-respected lawyer. He's been a federal prosecutor. He talks about this. Okay, like, this is not just me just rattling this off randomly. This is stuff that's been validated. Books have been written. There's been a lot of validation of this stuff. Okay, more validation than, by the way, you would need to get arrested for not paying a parking ticket or smoking weed or having a drink. Excuse me. Like, if you had a drink, all a cop would have to do is be like, oh, I smell that you have alcohol on your breath. Step out of the car. Walk that line. Put your hands behind your back. And you get arrested. Yet we deny the fact that there's all this unbelievable evidence that these people are massively corrupt and involved with these things. And we're just like, oh, well, but that's them. That's fine. It's actually not fine. They're human beings, and, the rules apply to everyone here, okay? It's not right that just because someone's a fucking... In fact, if they're a congressman or a president or a vice president or anybody in the government, they should be an example of abiding by the laws. But you see this again and again with the Democratic Party and the Rhino Republicans. They simply say, do as I do, not as I... do as I say, not as I do. They say to do one thing and they don't actually fucking do it. And, that's just who the fuck they are. You see that all the time. So anyway, bringing it back to QAnon simply exposes a lot of this stuff. Does QAnon have flaws? Yes, of course. The biggest flaws I see, are people getting, and I've done this too, I've gotten overly excited about it and been like, oh my God, like, they're rescuing hundreds of thousands of poor innocent babies that are in deep underground military bases that Hillary Clinton is shipping. But dude, while that might not be true, there's some weird shit going on. Look up Evergreen. Hillary Clinton's shipping company that she has called Evergreen. It has these huge fucking barges that come from Haiti back and forth. Third world countries. Oprah Winfrey's got this school for girls, and she's friends with Harvey Weinstein, and she says all this creepy shit. Like, it doesn't really matter, when you get molested as a kid. If the molester's any good, you're not even going to notice it because it feels good. Which is, by the way, a completely ridiculous statement. Oprah Winfrey was groomed, and if you don't know this about Oprah, she was raped as a child, which is tragic, and I mean, it's sickening what happened to her. She was impregnated at age 13. I think she had the kid, or she got an abortion at 13, which is just, I mean, it's just wrong on every level. But now here she is. Very often kids that get molested as a kid, they wind up molesting other kids, and even worse. So it's crazy. But she has this school with little girls, and it's tied to the Clintons, and all these people are all tied in together. I mean, the evidence is just overwhelming. The issue is that most people are sheep. They're sheeple. Let's be honest. They don't look at the facts. They don't look at the reality of the situation. They still go to the amount of people that still pay for Netflix. It just blows my mind. Dude, these tech companies, by the way, Obama and Susan Rice are on the board for Netflix. How the fuck, 2 points, how the fuck are Obama and Rice on the board of Netflix to begin with? And they just released, remember the whole cuties thing? Nobody seems to remember that anymore. The most disgusting thing you've ever seen. It's still on there. It's still on there. The 10, 11-year-old girls basically doing fucking, it's pedophile shit. It's pedophilia. They're doing sexual shit on TV. What? That's crazy. That's crazy. If you or I were involved with the production of pedophilia, are you fucking kidding me? That's like life in jail. So that's one thing. The second thing is that there are a lot of people out there that still use Netflix. Dude, stop using fucking Netflix. They have a show that is pedophile content. You can't support that. That's crazy. And then I've seen, some of these people that still use Netflix, the shows that are on there are fucking, I can't watch them. One of them is like Lucifer, and it's about this guy named Lucifer. It's like, oh, Lucifer is such a great guy. Wow. He's this attractive man. He fucks everything that walks, but that's just Lucifer. Wow. He's such a stud. He's such a hot guy. Oh my God, Lucifer. I was like, you're an idiot. I'm like, how do you not know at this point, after everything that's come out, that Netflix is producing content to normalize pedophilia and weird Satan worship? This is fucking weird, dude. I'm not watching a show called fucking Lucifer, okay? I'm not gonna be looking at a guy called Lucifer and be like, wow, I want to be like that. No. If you learn anything about, God and religion and Jesus Christ or Yahweh or whatever you want to call him, higher power, you're not supposed to open the door to that type of shit. You open the door to that and you're going to allow that into your fucking subconscious. It's not good. We all know that, but very few people do that. These people that are watching this show, they're like, oh, Cuties is just a show about how bad pedophilia is. I'm like, you're watching pedophilia. You're watching child porn. Imagine 12 years ago, if I told you in what was it, in 2008, right? If I said there's going to be a show on TV that shows 10-year-old girls in short shorts that pull down their shorts and take pictures of their vagina at 12, and they show it, and then they grind their butts on guys, adult men, on TV, you would be like, what? Yeah, but that's what that show is. That's your average person. They're a total schmuck. They just go along with anything. They'll just do anything. They'll take the COVID thing. They'll wear the face diaper. They'll do whatever the fuck you tell them to do, even if it's bad for them. It's going to make them sick. It doesn't have anything to do with reality. It's unbelievable. So that's the most, I would say those two things are pretty disturbing. So QAnon, it opens your mind to this stuff. But most people, since they're sheep, and they still have Netflix, they'll listen to the mainstream media who are all involved with this shit, and they're clearly demon possessed. You look at guys like Brian Stelter and fucking Gavin Newsom and that bitch that interviewed Trump for the second town hall. It was like after the first debate with that little faggotoid Chris Wallace, that little bitch. She was like demon possessed. They're all fucking demon possessed. She was like sharking out. It's like, so why don't you just take the vaccine? Sharking out like she's powerful. She's not powerful. Look at these people that are Satanists. They're usually the most pathetic people you've ever seen in your life. These leftists, they're like, fuck you, man. It's like a big fat guy that can't run to the end of the block. It's like some uncoordinated reject, that feels like this is his moment to shine. Instead of working and pounding through, you're just like, this is my moment for communism. This woman that interviews Trump for the second town hall is like, she's sharking out like, yeah, I got you now, bitch. That's right. I'm a woman at 32, and I'm gonna get you, Trump. I'm gonna get you. It just shows up in certain points. Pelosi, all these people are sick. They're all involved with this. And they're like, QAnon is the worst thing in the world. Don't you dare. Why are they banning it? If it's not a threat, if it's just some stupid conspiracy theory, why are they banning it? If it's not a threat, you're not threatened by it. You're just going to ignore it. Clearly, they've got something to hide. And the good news is that humans are pretty fucking innovative, okay? Like, we figure out a way around. You can't stop the spread of an idea. You can't. Unless you've got some amazing... I think that these people are just arrogant. They're banking on the fact that people are stupid and sheep. And they think that if they just keep censoring things, it's going to somehow stop it. What it does is it just, like, for me as a business owner, I have literally had a really rough go. It's rough for everybody, but, it's been fucking rough, dude. They've been shutting down my accounts for years. They've been banning my YouTubes. They've been banning my Facebooks. They've been banning this and banning that. And, with all the other problems I got in life, it's been rough, dude, to keep going, okay? But I figured out a way. I've always found a way, whether it was... I just did what I had to do, man. And it's... I always found a way, and I always will find a way. That's what's so great about human beings. So, they're not going to silence the idea. If anything, they're shining light on it, because you're pissing me off. You're telling me I can't talk about something. Why? What's wrong with talking about reality? What's wrong? What's your issue with me talking about something that is real, that's an issue that hurts children? What's your fucking problem with that? And then meanwhile, you're going around and talking about Trump being in bed with Putin, and you've had no evidence. I would have listened to your evidence. In fact, most Republicans and Trump supporters are like, dude, so like, what is it? What's your fucking evidence? Can you explain? Can you tell me about this, please? Because, like, if you know something I don't, I'll listen. All they have is just like, you're an idiot, hillbilly. They're the most racist, disgusting people. I've been called a kike. I've been called a white supremacist. I've been called a short, big-nosed Jew, piece of shit, hillbilly moron. And I'm like, who are you, though? They're nobodies. I'm like, the average person that tells me this one fucking girl literally called me an ignorant person. I'm like 3 nights ago, you called me, and you were blacked out on Xanax. You cut your knees open on the first night you moved into your new place. Literally. You last time I saw you, you smelled terrible, you looked terrible, and this isn't giving anything away. The only person that's going to know who I'm talking about is her, if she watches this. And it's true. She knows she called me ignorant, and after she called me ignorant, I was like, oh, dude, let me solve that problem for you right now. Blocked her. Never talked to her again. I mean, like, these people that'll call you these names, these liberals, are the biggest loser nobodies you've ever met in your life. Literally. You're like, what do you do? Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? Even if you were successful, who the fuck are you to tell me that I can't talk about something? What's your problem? As a matter of fact, that girl actually was into witchcraft, which made a lot of sense. I remember one time, I don't even care. I was with her. I was cooking. I actually cooked for her. I burned my hand on the pot, and she's like laughing at the fact that I burned my fucking hand. That for me actually was the thing that killed it. I was like, oh, that's funny to you? And she's like, well, it's not that it was funny. I'm like, why are you laughing at the fact that I just burned my hand while I'm cooking for you? Are you serious? So after that, I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. If I ever get if I get the feeling, just as an aside here, that when we're hanging out, you think it's funny that I get hurt, or you think it's funny when I fail or something like that, you're actually cheering for me to fail. I notice that, and I'm not going to be your friend. I'm not going to trust you. You know, I know that you're probably used to that Schadenfreude thing, where it's like, oh, it's funny when the guy gets kicked in the balls, like in America's Funniest Home Videos, hosted by Bob Saget, who's a pedophile. Look that up yourself too. Like, I need a fact check on that. Like, just go fucking do your own research, you cunt. Do your own. I love that too. When people say, this is another thing about the whole QAnon thing. Your average lefty or sheep person that doesn't do any research, they'll say things to you like, I'm going to need to see some facts on that. I'm like, have you done any research yourself? Have you even bothered to punch this into Google or look at some information? Like, what did you spend your day doing? Did you do, like, what were you doing? Like, well, I jerked off 3 times, ate McDonald's, and picked lint out of my belly button and watched Netflix and ate popcorn. Then I went to my 9-to-5 job and came back and got drunk and didn't do anything for the whole night. And I'm not saying I don't fuck around too, dude. Like, I'm not massively productive all the time. But, dude, most of my time I spend reading, writing. I've spent years working out, learning to train. I've spent years building my business. I've spent years building my following and putting out free content for years. I don't take days off, to be honest with you. So it's just, when people say to me, like, I'm going to need you to fact check that, it's just so unbelievably stupid. I would never, if you told me something interesting, I'd be like, I need to look that up. And I'd punch it into my phone. I'd start reading about it, and I'd make my own conclusions. I'd be like, that doesn't make sense. I don't know about that. Or I'd look it up and be like, damn, I need to read more about it. I would go to Scribed, where I read a lot of books. I have a account on this website called Scribed, where you can get unlimited books, unlimited audiobooks, and unlimited documents for like $10 a month. It's amazing service, highly recommended. I used to read a lot of books, go to Barnes & Noble, read like, literally in 1 year I read like 200 books all the way through. Probably, maybe, I'm probably exaggerating that. It's probably less than that, probably like way less. But I read a lot. I read a lot every single day. I wrote a lot, and it's just like, that's what I'm into, okay? Like, that's what I'm into. And when I present facts about things like the QAnon stuff, it's just simply to open your mind. I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm not telling you this is fact. I think that that's ignorant as fuck if I was to say, like, oh, yeah, this is definitely what's going on, and this is the exact way to package it. This is perfectly how it is. No, I'm just like, this is what I know. I'm just sharing the idea, dude. And there are some people that like to talk about those ideas together, and some of them are like QAnon followers. They're QAnon followers, okay? They're also, it has a lot of crossover with people that are Christians or Jews or Islam people that are good, like people that are good, that study the Bible and they believe in God. There's a lot of crossover there. You talk to those people about the revelations and the second coming of Christ or Yahweh or whatever, the Messiah is coming back. You could talk to them about this stuff. You could talk to them about the New World Order. You could talk to them about the one world religion and the one world government and the cabal and all this stuff. And they know it themselves because a lot of it's in the fucking Bible. A lot of this stuff has been written in the Bible. This is not new, Like, none of this stuff is new. A lot of this stuff is thousands of years old that I'm talking about. Blood libels, blood sacrifice, witchcraft, black magic, white magic, meditation, astral projection, witchcraft. All this stuff is well known. Okay, just because people nowadays don't know about it, and some dumbass like Chris Cuomo fucking Fredo comes on the TV and says, New York City isn't actually dangerous. Oh, New York City is dangerous right now. Oh, they're the same people that said peaceful but mostly mostly peaceful but sometimes fiery protests. Dude, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. They're the same people that mocked Trump when he was like, we need to ban travel from China in January or February. He's like, look, they've got this outbreak of COVID-19. We need to block travel from China. And what did they do? What did all the liberals do? They're like, that's racist and xenophobic. And then, and they're like, come on down to Chinatown. They were involved. It's even worse than you think. And then a month later, they're like, he didn't act fast enough. He ruined everything. The guy, all these fucking dumbass Democrat mayors, and they're not dumb. Well, they are dumb, but they're criminal. They're criminals. That's really what they are. They're criminals, and they're squeezing all this money out for themselves while the people suffer. I don't even... Oh, man. Just so mad. It's just... fucking... I'm just so pissed. They turn around, they blame it all on Trump. That's what I do. They blame it all on Trump. They blame it all on the Trump supporters. Like, it's their fault, those hillbilly redneck. I'm like, dude, I'm a fucking Jew that grew up in a nice suburb in Connecticut, and then I lived in the city all my life. I'm not a fucking hillbilly. Not that I have anything against hillbillies. And in fact, the people from the country that I've met that live outside of the cities are some of the best, most down-to-earth people I've ever met. I love hanging out with those people. They're normal. You know who's not normal? Liberals. They go to NYU or the New School or fucking FIT. Those people are fucking freaks. Or your typical, like these people that literally are like, oh, we better defund the police. I saw an article today, I posted on my Instagram. These people are paying armed guards. They're like, defund the police for George Floyd, the fucking career criminal. And then they fucking pay armed guards. So they get guards, and you don't. And you keep going for it. I'm not saying you guys on this channel, but fucking people out there just keep going for them. Like, well, it makes sense, because the black people are being oppressed and shot down. Black trans women are being shut down outside their homes, and they're being destroyed. No opportunities. Like, where the fuck do you have any evidence of that? They're like, don't be ignorant. And I'm like, you don't have any evidence. They'll be like, it's happening. You're a dumb hillbilly. You're a fucking kike, they tell me. I'm like, I actually would fight somebody over saying that. But then, I'll say something like, hey, Obama is the most corrupt president that we've ever had. James Comey, Brennan, Clapper, the CIA, the FBI, he used them as personal arms of his pet projects to make deals, do corrupt things. He was aware of what the Bidens were doing overseas, and they sold out our governments. See the Biden laptop. Look at the wealth, the money that they accumulated in their time in office. They came into office with like $100,000 in the bank, and they left office being worth over $100 million, in some cases billionaires. Nancy Pelosi is a billionaire. Her family, Paul Pelosi, her husband, Ilhan Omar, who was just caught recently on Project Veritas, fucking paying off people to modify and steal the ballots. And then they'll be like, you're a racist hillbilly, and there's black trans women being trampled in the street. I'm like, no. Police are hunting down black men. I'm like, do you even know how many black men were shot in the United States last year? And I'm like, it was like 50. Okay, unarmed black men were shot in the United States. Versus white men, there were about, I think 120 or something like that. And then beyond that, we look at the real cause of death for black men. Like, you compare, black on black crime is way fucking higher than police on black crime. It's fucking really sad that any of them died. It's really sad when people die that didn't need to die. But you're not about black lives, so shut the fuck up. And they're like, racist. I'm like, how am I racist? They're like, you just are. You voted for Trump. I'm like, I voted for Obama too, twice. They're like, that doesn't matter. They're just unbelievably stupid. And then the Republicans on the other side are just fucking passive pussies. They're just like, well, I got my guns, but I don't want the ATF to come and find me. As I make the fucking hillbilly voice. And not every Republican sounds like that. Most don't. I'm just saying, like, a lot of them are just totally just like, well, they're kind of weak. They're kind of not standing up and being vocal. Like, they're afraid of, I'm going to lose my job if I speak up. Dude, just speak up. Everywhere I go, I run my mouth. I'm like, I voted in Harlem. I voted up by where I used to live for 5 years in Harlem on 135th and Lenox Avenue. And I voted in the school there, and I was like, I'm like, I cannot believe that any black person would vote for Joe Biden when he passed the 1994 crime bill. And in 1998, he called blacks super predators, and he is undoubtedly made unbelievably racist comments like, if you don't know who to vote for, me or Trump, then you ain't black. Like, I just run my mouth. I'm like, this is crazy. Beyond the race thing, which isn't that important, the guy is literally on camera groping kids. What the fuck are you doing? Like, you're voting for him out of habit, but the guy is not a good choice. What can you really say evidence-wise about Trump? With miles of evidence for Biden, you have zero evidence for Trump. The one thing he said was grab by the pussy. Not a classy thing to say. Totally agree. Kind of funny. Not classy, and I don't condone it. I think it was a fucked up thing to say, but also, on the other side of things, I think we all say some pretty fucked up things sometimes. I'm not saying that it was a good thing. It's not. It's a very, it's a crass thing to say. But also, in all fairness, we all say really crass things. These liberals that are like, we're going to cancel you. They're on camera calling Asian women chinks. And they call me kike. Like, they call black people that are conservative Uncle Toms. So where the fuck do you get off telling us what's right? Get the fuck out of here. The most racist people I've ever met in my life are fucking liberals. That call me a liberal, that call me a racist. Meanwhile, they're dropping N-bombs behind the scene all the time. You see that guy that Kyle Rittenhouse shot, a pedophile. Look it up. That Rosenbaum guy, that little short freak, is a fucking pedophile. He raped an 8-year-old and a 12-year-old boy. He raped them, and he went to jail for it. And he's there like, nigga, what's up, nigga, shoot me, nigga. I don't know if anybody knows, but you're fucking white. Why are you saying that? Shut the fuck up. Show some fucking class, bro. Like, okay, yeah, you said nigga, go. Woo, yeah, you listen to a rap song. You said nigga, whoa. You're real, whoa. Let me just fucking revere you over here. So, anyway, guys, that's about it. I'm going to cut it here. If you want to check out my blog, check out bradholiday.com. I post a lot of, helpful tips there. I post politics, sort of like this, and that's my overall view on QAnon. I think it's a really good gateway for people to begin doing their own research. It's not a cult. I've never met any QAnon people in my life. I've talked with some of my friends who are like, yeah, man, this is happening. Where we go on, we go on. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Let's take this country back. And they're like, yeah, man, awesome. That's it. It's, there's no meetings, whereas, Antifa is a cult. Black Lives Matter, cult. Satanism, definitely a cult. They're like secret. They're like, if you fucking tell anybody what we're doing, we're going to come after your family. And we're going to show people the videos of you raping little kids, which a lot of these people do. I'm not sure about BLM and Antifa, but I'm pretty sure that they're involved with occultist satanic rituals. I can't say that for sure, but I kind of have an inkling that they're intertwined with that stuff. they're definitely criminals. So if you're a criminal, you automatically are getting blackmailed. It's like the mafia. You can't just leave the mafia. If you leave the family, you're a fucking liability. A lot of those guys just get fucking iced. They get blasted. They get killed because they're a liability now. They left, you know, to someone who's going out and doing crimes. What do you know, you're thinking like, oh, well, this kid's, he left, but, he knows what I did and he knows what you did. There's no clean breaks. So, like, you commit a bunch of crimes and people see that you did it. There's no leaving. They're the ones that are true conspiracy people. They're actually in a conspiracy. They're literally the gayest conspiracy people I've ever seen in my life. Like, you're literally talking about a bunch of uncoordinated, fat, incel, like, neck beard, and I know I said incel. Whatever. They're unsanitary. They're stupid. They read things that are just, if they do read, they're literally, they have no arguments that make sense. And they're just propped up. Useful idiots. The Bolsheviks would call them useful idiots. So, literally the gayest group of radicals you've ever seen. like literally, they're like radicals that go along with corporate, mainstream, socially acceptable views that are like pushed by academia, corporations, the media. Everything that like is mainstream is like, that's what they do, and they call themselves radicals. No, actually, not that I'm looking to be this. The people that are really radicals are people that stand up for what they believe in, which is, leave me the fuck alone. I think that President Trump is the best choice that we have. I really love what he says. I want to believe in what he's doing. And yes, I did vote for him, and I'm fucking sure as hell voting for him this time again. I did vote for him. That's it. People that wear a MAGA hat in New York City, that's a fucking rebellious thing to do. You're going to get screamed at. You're going to probably get into a fight. You have to face down a mob. Those are the real rebels, not these fags. Get the fuck out of here, dude. That's ridiculous. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on QAnon. Overall, it's legit. Check it out. Check it out and decide for yourself. Don't let Chris Cuomo, the liar that's playing you like a pawn, tell you what to think about these people. Because, that guy is a huge hypocrite. He's like, wear your mask. And then he himself doesn't wear a mask. He himself fakes being in a quarantine. These people are fucking ridiculous. So, go and listen to them if you want. Personally, I'm going to do my own thing and carve my own fucking way here, all right? That's about it. Peace.